We've got another amp, another one from MARTS Digital. This is the MXB 500. This is going to be a 500 watt 1 ohm stable amp. We will find out. We've got a decal, got the owner's manual, RMS power at 1 ohm at 12.6 volts, 460 watts, RMS power at 1 ohm at 14.4 volts, 520 watts. Oh, hey, if you want to check the amp out, you can click the link down in the video description. I'll try to put a link up here where it's easy for you to find. I don't usually mention the price in the video because every time I mention a price in the video, the price changes the next day. I have no idea if this thing's a good deal or not. You'll find out when you click the link. That's the plug for the high level inputs. We've got screws and an Allen key. We have a bass knob. I love it when they throw in a bass knob. Here is the amp itself, and it is tiny. How in the world do they get so much power in such a tiny little amp? It's the size of my hand. How cool is that? On this side, we've got some speaker outputs. They seem a little small, but it is just a 500 watt amp. Here's our 4-gauge ferrule. It is a 4-gauge input, so good. 500 watt amp. Do you really need 4-gauge? Nah, 8-gauge works. If you're trying to figure out what size power wire you need, I've got a tool for you over on my website right over here, the Power Wire Calculator. You choose a wire type. I recommend that you use OFC. It's just better wire. You enter the RMS power of your amplifier, your system voltage. Cars are 12 volt systems, but they're not really 12 volts. With your car on and charging, it could be making 14.4 or 14.8 volts. 13.8 is always a safe number to use. Amplifier efficiency, it's hard to know what your amplifier efficiency is. Digital amplifiers tend to be very efficient. So if we have a 70% efficiency amplifier, and if our wire is 10 feet long, if we use 8-gauge wire, what we get is a voltage drop of 0.325 over that 10 feet of wire. And so if you've got a short run, 8-gauge wire is fine for this 500 watt amplifier. If you have a longer run of wire, say 15 feet, it's still gonna work. And honestly, most cars, it's gonna be less than 15 feet. Most amplifier wire kits are gonna come with 17 feet of wire. And so if you find you're using the entire run of wire, the 8-gauge wire isn't going to be big enough. Most of the time for a 500 watt amp, 8-gauge wire is going to get the job done. But if we plug in 4-gauge wire, we see we get less voltage drop. So you're going to get more power to your amp. You're going to have a better result with a thicker wire. The downside is thicker wire costs more money. Now, the other thing that's important about this calculator here is it's going to show you your current draw. And that's really important because this amp doesn't have any fuse, and I didn't see any fuse rating in the owner's manual. This tells you that a 50 amp fuse is probably about right. Fuses don't blow as soon as they hit their amperage limit. They usually have a little bit of headroom. So if you put a 50 amp fuse on this thing, you'll protect the wire, you'll protect the amplifier, and it's unlikely to pop unless you just crank it all the way up and leave it there for a little while. It's important that you use the right fuse. It's going to protect your amp from blowing up, and it's going to keep your car from burning down from a short. 2 channels of RCA inputs, plug for the remote control, subsonic filter, a low pass filter, and a gain and a bass boost. So everything you need on an amplifier. And again, it's tiny, and guess what? It has a clip light, y'all. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Every amp should have a clip light. It is a small footprint, but it is a big, thick, beefy boy. So that is just shy of 2 inches thick. How much does it weigh? 1.74 pounds. For all my friends outside of the US, I know you want to see the kilograms. 0.8 kilograms. Small, compact, lightweight. What do you think about the look? The shiny brushed aluminum heat sink looks like a purple star pattern. Might not be the look you like, but it is a unique look. And man, is it tiny. But that's not why you're here. You're here because you want to know if this little thing can make 500 watts. I'm skeptic. I don't think it can do it. Let's find out. For those who don't know how this works, I've got 3 pieces of equipment here in front of you. On the right is an SMD distortion detector, the DD1 Plus. This was originally designed as a tool for setting gains on your amplifiers. I've made a ton of videos about setting gains. I'll give you some links to them right up here so you can go check them out. But I'm using it as a diagnostic tool because that red light turns on when the amplifier hits 1% total harmonic distortion. And for a subwoofer amplifier, most people aren't going to be able to hear distortion until it gets above 5%. So we're also going to keep cranking it up until the AMM1 lights up. That's a clip light. The AMM1 is in what's known as amp dyno mode. The instant it detects clipping, it's going to stop. It will read out the largest RMS power number that it sees while this test is going on. So if I turn it up and then turn it back down, it'll stay at that level. On the bottom, that there is a voltage and current monitor. It's going to tell us the voltage and the current. It updates just a little bit slower than the SMD devices, so they're going to be out of sync just a little bit, but it's there to roughly give us an idea of our current draw, and we could roughly calculate efficiency, but it's not a very accurate calculation, so don't usually go through it in the videos. We're going to start off with a 4 ohm test. The amplifier does not provide a power rating at 4 ohms, so we're just going to see what we get. What I do here is I fast forward through the boring part, and then right when it gets interesting, I slow it down so we can go frame by frame and see when the light turns on. That light turns on at 1% total harmonic distortion, and that is really good news for our amplifier. In theory, in a perfect world, when you go from 4 ohms to 2 ohms, you cut the resistance in half, you should double the wattage. So this thing is on track to theoretically hit well over 500 watts. I crank the bass knob all the way up, and the clip light doesn't turn on. We get 306 watts before I stop turning the volume up. So this thing is well on its way to hitting its power rating. And I am just blown away that this thing can even make any power because it's so tiny. I'm old. I remember when a 500 watt amp was a big 20-pound surfboard that took up all your trunk space. For these tests, I'm using 4 ohm braking resistors. I've got 2 of them wired in parallel to give me a 2 ohm load. And we do the exact same thing. We just start cranking it up. As we crank it up, we have a little bit of a resolution problem. It's hard to tell exactly where the light turned on, somewhere between 350 and 450. The AMM1 doesn't give me the same resolution as the big expensive amp dyno that some channels have access to. I'm saving up to get one of them, and that's why I always ask you to join me over on Patreon to support the channel. All the money from Patreon gets stashed back off to the side and saved so that we can upgrade to get the things we need in order to improve the videos. So I want to take a second to say thank you to all of my patrons over on Patreon. My $10 and up patrons are scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now, and $25 and up patrons like Brian with a Y, Brian with an I, and Bo all get a big bonus shout out. If you want to support content like this, head on over to Patreon and sign up today. If you sign up for an entire year up front, you get 10% off your annual membership. All right, back to the amp. Let's crank this thing up and let's see if it clips. And it doesn't clip. So this thing's giving us well over its 500 watt 1 ohm rating at 2 ohms. We have got a winner. This is a little powerhouse. Let's check out that 1 ohm power rating. Exact same thing. We just got it hooked up to more resistors wired in parallel. There's the THD light, 533 watts. So absolutely, this little compact powerhouse makes its rated power. But you saw that coming. You're not surprised. Now let's crank it on up and see if we can get this thing to clip. And it never clips, and it just keeps making power. This thing is relentless. 600, 650, 670, and snap, crackle, pop. I smoked the amp. I was expecting the fuse to pop well before we got to that level of power because like I showed you earlier, you should put a 50 amp fuse on an amplifier of this size. Why don't we go ahead and crack it open and see if we can figure out what burned inside. Here are the amp guts. I don't know anything about the internal workings of an amplifier, so I have no idea what I'm looking at. But I'm looking for scorch marks and I'm not seeing any, so I have no idea where this amplifier failed. But as I was doing my post-mortem inspection, I took a look at the fuse sitting in my fuse block, and it was a clear white fuse. It was an 80 amp fuse. If I would have had a 50 amp fuse in this thing, it would have popped before the amp did. I put in the wrong size fuse. I killed the amp. Sorry, MARTS, I didn't mean to kill your amp. I mean, it made its power. Never underestimate the damage that user error can cause. If you want to see me test more amplifiers, click right here. I'm Justin. This is the DIY Audio Guy YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next adventure.